This video contains original script writing, narration, music, animation, and editing created by Angel S. All analysis is transformative content based on publicly available information. Some words are meant to be heard clearly. Click C for subtitles. Hello everyone, I'm Angel. Welcome back. In today's video, I want to share a very unique psychic session with you. This is a reading conducted by American psychic medium Kandis Starr on January 8th, 2026. And the subject of the session is Chinese actor 𝗚𝗚𝗡𝗏. Before we begin, I need to make one important clarification. The content of this video is based solely on information received through a psychic medium. It has not been independently verified and should not be treated as factual evidence. This video is presented for the purpose of understanding what was communicated during the psychic reading, and it is not intended to accuse or make claims against any individual. Alright, let's begin. Previously on the last episode. Before we move into today's content, let's take a quick look back at the key points from the previous episode. On January 4th, 2026, Kandis Starr conducted the first live stream psychic session related to the case of 𝗚𝗚𝗡𝗏. During that session, she used a set of 20-lettered dice. The dice spelled out a result that translated to damaged fish, which was interpreted as a possible reference to organ trafficking. The psychic messages also mentioned the 798 Art District as a location of interest, along with indications that the body may have been stored somewhere. That livestream left behind many unanswered questions, and today's session continues the search for answers, but this time using a completely different tool, a teddy bear-based REM pod. What makes today's livestream even more unexpected is how different the atmosphere feels compared to last time. The previous session was heavy and filled with grief. This one, however, was unexpectedly full of laughter, music, and love. Alright, let's get into it. Chapter 1. A Promise One Day Late. As the live stream begins, Kandis Starr greets her audience. Hey babes, hello, hello, hello. You can hear the fatigue in her voice. I don't even know what to say. I'm so tired. This is the end of my day. I promised I would come live. I'm a day late, but I'm here. That's Kandis. When she says she's going to do something, she follows through. She continues. A lot of people keep asking me if I can cover other cases. I'm sorry, but this is how I work. I only focus on 1 or 2 cases at a time, and I stay with them until the spirit tells me, okay, I've told you enough. Then she says something that makes it clear she's serious. If you think working on the 𝗚𝗚𝗡𝗏 case for a month is crazy, you should have seen the 𝗞𝗏𝗱𝗶𝗀 Jenkins case. We followed that one for 2.5 years. Supplementary background, the 𝗞𝗏𝗱𝗶𝗀 Jenkins case. Since Kandis brought up this case, I want to take a moment to explain it. This case is key to understanding how Kandis works. In September 2017, a 19-year-old black woman named 𝗞𝗏𝗱𝗶𝗀 Jenkins was in Chicago, United States. That night, she went to a hotel party with friends. The hotel was near the airport, the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel. It was the kind of gathering young people go to, drinking, hanging out, having fun. After the party ended, 𝗞𝗏𝗱𝗶𝗀 disappeared. Her mother reported her missing the next day. The hotel searched. The police searched. They searched for nearly an entire day. So where was she eventually found? Inside an unused kitchen area of the hotel, there was a large walk-in freezer. 𝗞𝗏𝗱𝗶𝗀 was found inside it, no longer breathing. The official ruling was that it was an accident. Authorities stated that 𝗞𝗏𝗱𝗶𝗀 had been drinking that night and had a seizure medication called 𝗞𝗲𝗏 in her system. According to the report, this combination may have caused dizziness and impaired coordination, leading her to wander into the freezer in a disoriented state, where she ultimately froze to death. Security footage showed her stumbling through the hallways, appearing confused and unsteady. And just like that, the case was closed. The official conclusion? Accidental death. But her mother didn't believe it, and neither did many others. Claims and speculation online. This case sparked a huge amount of discussion and speculation online. I want to be very clear from the start. What I'm about to describe are claims circulating on the internet, not verified facts. However, because these narratives have significantly influenced how many people view this case, I believe it's important to acknowledge them and explain why they exist. Claim 1. Set up by friends. Many people online believe that 𝗞𝗏𝗱𝗶𝗀 Jenkins was betrayed by her friends. According to this theory, 𝗞𝗏𝗱𝗶𝗀 was pressured to drink excessively at the party, or possibly drugged, then taken into another room where something happened. The claim suggests that she was later placed inside the freezer to conceal what occurred. Why did this theory gain traction? Some viewers felt that her friends' reactions afterward appeared emotionally detached or inconsistent, Others pointed out that there were live streams from the party that night, describing the tone and behavior as strange or unsettling. However, according to the official autopsy report, there was no clear evidence of homicide and no signs of sexual assault. Toxicology results detected alcohol and 𝗠𝗲𝗡, a medication used to treat seizures, but did not find common date rape drugs. Because of this, law enforcement concluded that there was insufficient evidence to support the claim that her friends conspired to cause her death. Claim 2. Organ trafficking. This theory is even more disturbing. Some people online shared photos and claimed that the body found inside the freezer didn't look right, pointing to areas that appeared sunken or misshapen. That led to speculation. Could 𝗞𝗱𝗶𝗀 Jenkins have been a victim of organ trafficking? Was it possible that her organs had been removed? This claim spread rapidly online. Some posts even suggested the involvement of major hospitals or black market networks. However, the forensic report made no mention of any organs being removed. Medical experts explained that the physical changes seen in the body were consistent with exposure to extreme cold, post-mortem fluid redistribution, and the handling of the remains, not surgical intervention. As a result, mainstream media outlets have consistently categorized the organ trafficking theory as an unsubstantiated conspiracy, lacking any supporting evidence. Claim 3. Surveillance footage was tampered with. This is another theory that many people believe. Some online viewers analyzed the hotel's surveillance footage frame by frame, claiming they could see a second figure that appeared to be blurred out. Others argued that 𝗞𝗱𝗃's movements in the video looked as if she was being pushed or pulled, rather than walking on her own. From there, the theory developed that the hotel or law enforcement deliberately removed footage showing another person, and that the surveillance video was edited to hide a suspect. Police later addressed these claims. They stated that the full, original surveillance files had been made available to both the media and 𝗞𝗃's family. The clips shown on the news were excerpts, not altered footage with people removed. Technical experts also examined the so-called strange shadows, explaining that they were consistent with video compression artifacts, reflections, and low image quality, not hidden individuals. According to official records, there is no clear video evidence showing a third person accompanying 𝗞𝗃𝗃 Jenkins into the kitchen area or the freezer. Claim 4. The hotel and police were covering something up. The final theory suggests that the hotel and law enforcement were working together to cover up the truth. Some people argue that the hotel did not want the public to know that an unauthorized party had taken place on its property, and therefore delayed its response or failed to fully cooperate with the investigation. According to this view, police then stepped in to protect the hotel and minimize liability. This theory is partially grounded in documented facts. 𝗞𝗃's family later filed a civil lawsuit against the hotel. In 2023, the case was settled, with the family receiving nearly $10 million in compensation. Court records clearly state that the hotel did fail in aspects of safety management. In other words, even though the official ruling classified the death as an accident, the legal system still found the hotel to be responsible in a civil context. However, it's important to be precise about what those legal findings actually mean. The court documents focused on negligence and delayed response, not on conspiracy or homicide. There has been no criminal investigation concluding that hotel staff or police officers participated in a murder or actively covered up a suspect. Why did this case generate so many conspiracy theories? You might be asking, why did this case spark so much speculation? Because it contains every element that pushes people to overanalyze. A young, attractive woman, a late-night party, incomplete surveillance footage, a freezer located outside the camera's direct view, an official conclusion that feels too ordinary, accidental death, and a mother who does not accept that conclusion. When all of these elements come together, many people feel compelled to search for a more dramatic explanation. They struggle to accept the idea that a drunk young woman simply wandered into a freezer by mistake. To them, it feels like something darker must have been hidden. I'm not saying these suspicions are necessarily wrong. I'm saying that, so far, none of these claims have been supported by evidence that can withstand forensic analysis, surveillance review by technical experts, or scrutiny in a court of law, in the case of 𝗞𝗃𝗃 Jenkins. Kandis and her connection to this case. Kandis Starr spent 2.5 years following the 𝗞𝗃𝗃 Jenkins. Using her psychic abilities, she tried to uncover what cameras could not capture. Whether or not you believe in psychic work, one thing is clear. Kandis takes the cases she accepts very seriously. She does not give up easily. So when she says she will continue following the case of Yu Long, she means it. The 𝗞𝗃𝗃 Jenkins case took 2.5 years. The Yu Long case has only been underway for about 1 month. As Kandis herself put it, as long as I still have a connection, I'll keep doing everything I can to help. That's Kandis. Alright, with the background covered, let's return to the live stream. Chapter 2. The Teddy Bear Appears. Today's live stream centers around an unexpected star, a cute teddy bear. But this is not an ordinary teddy bear. Kandis Starr brings the bear into frame and begins to explain. This one is also a REM pod. It's just designed as a teddy bear. Cute, right? This model is discontinued. She explains how the bear works. If something touches it, it reacts. It's not triggered by sound, and it's not triggered by vibration. You have to physically squeeze the antenna for it to light up and make a sound. She demonstrates this for the audience. See? A light touch won't trigger it. You have to squeeze it firmly. Then she adds something important. This bear is old. I've probably been using it for 5 or 6 years, maybe even 7. She places the teddy bear directly in front of the camera and says, I'm putting it right here. I'm over here, and you can see there's no one behind my curtain, because some people always say, there must be someone hiding behind the curtain controlling it. The atmosphere in the live stream begins to feel tense. Kandis continues. The way I'm feeling today, it's a little sad, a little heavy. I don't usually deal with depression, or if I do, it's very mild. This doesn't feel like my emotion, it feels like his. She then explains her intention for the session. Today, I want to talk to him as a friend, not as an investigator. I want to give him some time to rest, you know? This is the tone she sets as she continues the session connected to the case of Yu Meng Long. Meng Meng, the power of a name. Then, the first moment happened, something that genuinely startled Kandis. A viewer typed in the live chat, call him Meng Meng. Kandis noticed the comment. Meng Meng? Call him Meng Meng? What the? Before she could finish the sentence, the teddy bear suddenly reacted, violently. What? Kandis jumped. I didn't even ask him a question yet. What was that? That reaction was way too strong. Let me try squeezing it myself and see if I can recreate that. She tried to reproduce the reaction. Wait, let me turn it. No, this isn't even close. I'm squeezing it hard and I still can't get all the lights to come on. What was that? I can't do it. She tried again and again. Oh my god, peace. This is kind of freaking me out. Do you guys feel like this bear is staring at you? Because I feel like it's staring at me. Kandis genuinely looked shaken. I kind of want to turn it away from me. Oh my god. The bear reacted again. So, should I even say that name again? I don't really want to say it again. She hesitated. The audience waited. Oh my god, I literally cannot recreate that reaction. The bear itself isn't scary, it's cute. But I can't make that sound happen by squeezing the antenna. And that makes me feel, not scared, just like, what the hell? The teddy bear's eyes. What happened next was strange. Not exactly scary, but unsettling in a strangely funny way. Kandis became fixated on the teddy bear's eyes. I feel like its eyes are making me uncomfortable. Do you guys see its eyes? Doesn't it feel like it's staring at you? It feels like it's looking straight into my soul. Have you ever experienced something like that? When you were a kid, there was a doll in your room. Once the lights were off, you couldn't shake the feeling that it was watching you. You turned over, it still felt like it was watching. You turned it to face the wall, and somehow in the middle of the night, it felt like it had turned back. Okay, that last part is horror movie logic, but the feeling of being watched is very real. In psychology, there's something called gaze detection. The human brain is wired to be extremely sensitive to eye-like patterns. From an evolutionary standpoint, quickly recognizing that something is watching you could mean the difference between survival and being eaten. So when Kandis said the bear's eyes made her uncomfortable, she wasn't performing. She was responding to an instinct that's been etched into human DNA for tens of thousands of years. And this wasn't just any teddy bear. This one lights up. This one makes sounds. If it were me, I probably would have shoved it into a closet by now. But Kandis chose a more creative solution. She went and grabbed a pair of Prada sunglasses. Yes, Prada. This teddy bear may be the only paranormal investigation tool in the world to ever wear designer sunglasses. I'm going to put these on you so your eyes stop looking at me. And then, guess what happened? It seemed like Yu Meng Long didn't like it. Kandis asked, "You don't want the sunglasses?" The teddy bear immediately reacted, so she took them off. Okay, now you're looking at me again. Honestly, I found this moment incredibly endearing. Think about it. A grown man who, in life, was an idol who sang and danced on stage, even as a spirit, still cares about how he looks. Sunglasses? No. Maybe he felt that covering his eyes meant he couldn't really look at people properly. Or maybe he just wanted to make Kandis a little nervous, tease her a bit. Who knows? But moments like this make me think that if spirits do exist, they might not be as solemn as we imagine. They might still joke around. They might still have preferences. They might still want to be seen. As Hayao Miyazaki once said, the most important things in the world are often hidden in the smallest details. A brief moment involving a pair of sunglasses gave us a glimpse of Yu Menglong's possible sense of humor and a trace of childlike warmth. And that made what happened afterward feel even more moving. Abnormal phone battery behavior. What happened next added something new to the live stream, a form of physical evidence. Kandis's phone began behaving strangely. It's at 24% right now. It's not charging, but at least it's not going down. Isn't that weird? Some time passed. We're at 18% now. Oh my god. My phone says it's charging, but it just dropped from 24% to 19%. My phone has never done this before. She checked all the connections. I don't know what's going on. My laptop is right here plugged in. The charging cable is connected to my phone and to my laptop. It shows a green light like it's charging. But it started at 24% and now it's 19%. A little later, 17%. Oh my god, and it's really hot. Alright, let's pause for a moment and talk about this. In paranormal investigation circles, electronic device malfunctions are one of the most frequently documented phenomena. Phones losing power, cameras freezing, audio recorders picking up static, flashlights flickering on and off. These occurrences show up with striking regularity in ghost hunting footage. Why might that be? There's a theory often referred to as the energy borrowing hypothesis. The idea is that non-physical entities lack material form. So if they want to interact with the physical world, to move objects, produce sound, or register on detection devices, they need to draw energy from their surroundings. Electronic devices happen to be the most accessible source. Think of it like a solar-powered calculator. Sitting in a drawer, it does nothing. But place it under light, and the screen turns on. Under this theory, a spirit would be like the calculator, and your phone battery would be the sunlight. By borrowing that energy, interaction becomes possible. Of course, this is only a theory, not a scientific conclusion. Skeptics would argue that the phone overheating could be caused by the combined strain of live streaming and charging at the same time. The battery drain could be due to aging hardware, battery degradation, or a faulty cable. All of those explanations are entirely possible. What makes this moment notable, however, is that Kandis stated her phone had never behaved this way before, and that this anomaly occurred during the session. A coincidence? Maybe. But when you place this alongside the teddy bear's reactions and Kandis's physical sensations, a pattern begins to emerge. Every anomaly seems to point in the same direction. Something was trying very hard to communicate. Chapter 3. Physical reactions, the cost of being a medium. Beyond the phone issues, Kandis's body was also sending signals. Does anyone else feel nauseous? I feel really sick. My eyes are suddenly stinging. My arm feels like it's fallen asleep, like there's an electric current running from here all the way to my fingertips. If you're even somewhat familiar with the world of psychic mediums, you'll know that reactions like these are not unusual. There's a term often used in this field called empathic response. It refers to moments when a medium, after forming a connection with a spirit, begins to physically or emotionally experience sensations associated with that person's life, or even their death. If the person suffered from chronic headaches, the medium may suddenly develop a headache. If the person drowned, the medium may feel short of breath. If the person was joyful in life, the medium may feel an unexplained urge to laugh. This context helps explain why Kandis Starr said this. I don't know what emotions he's putting me through, but I feel like I've experienced about 30 different emotions already. I feel happy? Like I want to laugh, but it's an unnatural kind of happiness, a silly, almost forced happiness. This sensation, feeling emotions that don't seem to belong to oneself, is often considered, within mediumship circles, a sign that a connection has been established. Of course, from a scientific perspective, there are other possible explanations. Staring at a screen for a long time can cause eye strain. Anxiety can lead to nausea. Holding one position too long can make an arm go numb. But Kandis herself added, the energy here is really strong. You guys can feel it right now, I swear. Oh my god, it's so hot. It's never hot in here, it's usually cold. Some experiences may not be easily explained by physiology alone. There's a metaphor I really like. A medium's body is like a radio. When there's no signal, it's just an ordinary device. But when it's tuned to the right frequency and starts receiving transmission, it heats up, produces static, and consumes more power. On this day, Kandis was clearly tuned into a very strong frequency. Chapter 4. The Love of the Fans. By this point in the livestream, the chat had turned into a miniature United Nations. Kandis Starr began greeting viewers one by one. Netherlands, hi! Sweden, hi! Taiwan, China, Singapore. Oh my god, you're coming in from everywhere! Then she asked a question. How many people here were already his fans while he was still alive? If that's you, type a 2 in the chat. The screen immediately flooded with numbers. 2, 2, 2. Wow, so many. You know what? I find this moment incredible all on its own. Think about it. An American psychic, live streaming from a small room. On the other side of the screen are people from more than a dozen countries, speaking different languages. Some may be watching at 3 in the morning. Some might have a window quietly open at work. Others could be wearing headphones while taking care of their kids. What brought all of these people together? A person they never met, but deeply loved. Kandis began reading messages from the fans. Tracy says she's your fan. She wants you to know that she and your fans will keep fighting for you. The teddy bear lit up. Another fan says, please tell him we love him. Thank you for bringing light into this world. The bear lit up again. Free Spirit says, we all love you. We think about you every single day. Each message received a response. Every expression of love was acknowledged. Later, Kandis said something that stayed with me. You are all incredible. You come from different countries, speak different languages, and live in different time zones. And yet, you came together. That made me think of a term, imagined communities. It's a concept introduced by political scientist Benedict Anderson, originally used to explain nationalism. He argued that most members of a nation will never meet each other, yet they share a collective imagination that binds them together. Fan communities work the same way. Most of Yu Menglong's fans don't know one another. They speak different languages and live completely different lives. But through their shared love for the same person, they form an imagined community. And in this moment, that community was speaking in many languages, to a teddy bear, saying, we love you. Is it absurd? Maybe. But it's also beautiful. He visits fans in their dreams. A fan asked a question that softened the entire atmosphere. JLo says that many fans believe you appear in their dreams. Do you really visit them in their dreams? The moment Kandis Starr asked the question, the teddy bear reacted immediately. I didn't expect you to answer that, she said. Wow, that's amazing. Across many cultures, dreams are believed to be a space where the soul can move freely. In ancient Chinese philosophy, there is the story of Zhuangzi dreaming he was a butterfly, unable to tell whether he was a man dreaming of being a butterfly or a butterfly dreaming of being a man. In Japan, there is the concept of yume makura, literally, standing by someone's pillow in a dream, referring to spirits, ancestors, or deities appearing in dreams to deliver messages. Many traditions share the belief that those who have passed may visit the people who miss them through dreams. In Western psychology, Carl Jung viewed dreams as an entry point into the collective unconscious, a realm that extends beyond the individual self. No matter which explanation you believe, one thing is certain. Many fans say they have dreamed of Yu Menglong. Jung divided the human psyche into 3 layers: consciousness, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious. He believed that dreams do not only reflect personal memories and experiences, but sometimes contain symbols that recur across cultures. Symbols like snakes, water, light, or shadows. These images, he argued, come from a deeper layer shared by humanity as a whole. And dreams are one of the gateways into that layer. Whatever interpretation you lean toward, the fact remains. Many fans say they have dreamed of Yu Menglong. And during this live stream, when that question was asked, the teddy bear responded affirmatively. Maybe, in dreams, distance and language no longer matter. Maybe that's the only place where he can still reach out to his fans. Then came another message, one that clearly made him happy. Oh, they're saying you were ranked number 5 on the most handsome faces of 2025 list. The teddy bear reacted strongly. Kandis laughed. He's really happy. See? Even on the other side, he still cares about whether he's handsome. That feels very human, doesn't it? Chapter 5. The Core Q&A. Important notice. The following section contains the most sensitive material from this live stream. Before continuing, I need to be absolutely clear. All of the questions and answers that follow are based on reactions and interpretations during a psychic session. The teddy bear's lights and sounds were interpreted by Kandis Starr as yes or no responses. This interpretation is subjective and cannot be scientifically verified in any way. This content is not fact, not evidence, and must not be treated as the basis for any accusation. We are presenting this material solely to document what occurred during the live stream, not to claim that these interpretations represent objective truth. If you are watching this video in search of concrete proof, you may be disappointed. But if you are here to understand what fans asked and what the medium perceived during the session, then please continue. Alright, let's move into the core discussion. Regarding Chen Duling, this was the question that triggered the strongest reaction from the teddy bear during the entire live stream. A viewer asked Kandis to pose the following question: Is Chen Duling being harmed by the same people who harmed you? Before going any further, it's important to clarify. Chen Duling is a Chinese actress who previously worked with Yu Menglong. There has been online speculation and discussion involving her, but none of those claims have been verified. When Kandis Starr read the question aloud, the teddy bear reacted intensely. Wow, it sounds like it's about to break, Kandis said. Kandis herself also had a strong physical response. Wow, oh, my stomach, she shuddered. Okay, hold on, that was way too strong. That just flooded me with so many emotions. She needed to pause before continuing. So what does this reaction mean? Honestly, I don't know. The teddy bear's intense response could be interpreted as a yes, or it could simply indicate that this topic carried a strong emotional charge. Kandis did not give a definitive yes or no conclusion. What I can say is this: out of all the questions asked during the live stream, this one provoked the strongest reaction. As for what that means, I'll leave that judgment to you. Regarding the body, the next set of questions moved into even more sensitive territory. One viewer asked, "Is your body being kept in an art museum?" The teddy bear reacted. Another person followed up, "Are they moving your body?" Another reaction. Someone then asked, "Are they using low-temperature technology to preserve your body?" Kandis seemed confused by the question. What? Low-temperature technology? Like freeze-drying or something? A viewer explained that it referred to a method of preserving a body so it would not decompose. The teddy bear continued to react. Oh my god, is that even legal? That's insane. I need to pause here for a moment. Claims that the body is being stored somewhere have circulated online for a long time. Some people have mentioned the 798 Art District. Others have suggested different locations. As of now, there is no verifiable evidence to support any of these claims. Kandis's interpretation of the teddy bear's reactions during the live stream cannot be treated as proof of these theories. What this segment documents is simply this: when these questions were asked, the teddy bear reacted. What those reactions mean is open to individual interpretation. A deadly party. The next set of questions began to touch on the core of the case. Kandis Starr asked, "Were you taken to that deadly party, or were you invited?" Wait, that's actually two questions. I need to separate them. This distinction is important. In yes or no psychic questioning, questions must be asked one at a time to receive a clear response. She continued, "Were you taken to the party from the place where you were being kept?" The teddy bear reacted. "I heard that. Wow. So you weren't invited." She then asked a follow-up question. "Was someone else invited and then told to bring you with them?" The teddy bear reacted strongly. "Oh, I'm wondering if that took a lot of energy from him." Let me pause here to explain the logic behind this line of questioning. If Yu Menglong had been invited to the party, that would suggest a degree of agency, that he had the option to go or not go. But if he was taken to the party, that implies a lack of choice. It suggests that someone else made the decision for him and brought him there. And the second question carries an even darker implication, that someone was invited to the party and then instructed to bring him along. What does that suggest? Premeditation. Not an accident. Not an impulsive decision, but something planned in advance. Of course, this is only an interpretation of the teddy bear's reactions during a psychic session. It is not evidence, and it is not established fact. But when this interpretation is placed alongside other messages received during different sessions, an unsettling outline begins to take shape. A double and fake photos. The next question startled Kandis so much that she felt the need to turn the lights back on. Was the person lying on the ground a double? The teddy bear reacted. "Is that double still alive?" The reaction was even stronger. "Are those photos fake?" At this point, Kandis couldn't continue as before. "I need to turn the lights on. I need light. Hold on. I need to take a break. I don't feel well. The energy in here feels really dense." She took a deep breath. This is exhausting for both sides. Let me breathe for a moment. The ideas of a double and fake photos are long-standing conspiracy theories that have circulated online for years. Supporters of these claims believe that the person shown in some officially released images was not Yu-Meng-Long, but a look-alike used as a stand-in. They often cite perceived evidence, such as differences in ear shape, the placement of moles, or facial details. Critics argue that these differences can be explained by camera angles, lighting conditions, image quality, or photo editing, and that they do not prove anything. During this live stream, when these questions were asked, the teddy bear reacted. But I want to emphasize this again. The teddy bear's reactions are physical responses from an electromagnetic detection device. Interpreting those reactions as answers from a spirit is the medium's subjective interpretation, not an objective fact. We are documenting these moments to show what occurred during the live stream, not to tell you, this is the truth. What the truth ultimately is, maybe one day it will become clear, or maybe it never will. Until then, all we can do is document, wait, and keep an open mind. A global issue. As the livestream neared its end, a fan asked a much broader question. Will more young idol group members in China be in danger? The teddy bear reacted. Oh no, Kandis Starr said, her voice heavy. Someone then followed up. Is this a global issue, not just China? The teddy bear reacted again. I hear that, Kandis said. It's definitely global. That response gave the entire livestream a much heavier meaning. If the psychic messages are accurate, then what happened to Yu-Meng-Long would not be an isolated incident. It would be part of something larger, a global, systemic problem. Of course, I need to emphasize once again, this is psychic information, not verified fact. But the question itself is still worth thinking about. Behind the polished image of the entertainment industry, how many darker realities remain hidden? How many young artists, while chasing their dreams, encounter forces they are unable to fight against? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a real, documented issue. From the hashtag #MeToo movement in Hollywood, to repeated scandals within the Korean entertainment industry, to the ongoing reports of artists taking their own lives around the world, the industry has a dark side. That much is undeniable. The case of Yu-Meng-Long may only be the tip of the iceberg. And perhaps that's why so many people refuse to stop asking questions. Because this isn't only about one person. It's about everyone who might find themselves trapped in the same situation. Chapter 6. An unprecedented musical moment. Alright, now we arrive at the most extraordinary part of the livestream. If this entire session were a film, this would be the moment that gives you chills. At a certain point during the livestream, the teddy bear began making a different kind of sound. Not the usual monotone beeping. Music. A full melody, rising and falling, structured, complete. Kandis froze. Wait, is that music? It's not stopping. It's never done this before. I've been using this for 5, 6, maybe 7 years, and it has never played music. Never. She tried to recreate the effect by squeezing the teddy bear's sensor herself. See? I can only make individual lights turn on, but he made all the lights turn on, and it played a full melody. I can't even do that myself. At that moment, the chat exploded. Someone typed, "He plays the cello." Another said, "He plays guitar." Another wrote, "He's a singer." Kandis saw the messages and went completely still. What? He's a singer? I didn't know that. Isn't he just an actor? Did you catch that? Kandis didn't know Yu-Meng-Long was a musician. She believed he was only an actor. When fans began telling her that he was a singer, a musician, someone who played multiple instruments, Kandis started to cry. No, I want to cry. The emotions I'm feeling right now are too strong. Oh my God, this is so moving. Let's put all of this together. A teddy bear that had been used for 6 or 7 years had never played music. That night, during Yu-Meng-Long's session, it played a full melody for the first time. Yu-Meng-Long just happens to be a singer and musician, and Kandis had no prior knowledge of that fact. Is this a coincidence? From a statistical standpoint, coincidences happen every day. But from a human standpoint, some coincidences are so beautiful that you don't want to explain them away with science. As Haruki Murakami once said, "When you truly want something, the whole universe conspires to help you achieve it." Maybe Yu-Meng-Long really wanted people to know, I'm still here. I'm still the person who loves music. Maybe he chose this way, to answer through music, because music was the language he knew best. He misses making music. As the live stream was coming to an end, Kandis Starr asked a question that felt heartbreaking. Do you miss making music, baby? The moment she asked it, her voice faltered. This makes me very, very sad. Do you know why this question hurts so much? Because it makes us wonder, if souls truly exist, do they miss the things they loved when they were alive? The feeling of holding a cello, the sound of hearing their own song being played, the experience of standing on stage bathed in light. On the other side, can Yu Menglong still create music? I don't know. But today, through a teddy bear, a melody emerged. Maybe this is how he makes music now, finding any medium he can reach, any small chance to produce sound, and then singing a song for the people who still miss him. Chapter 7. He Deserves to Be Happy. As the livestream reached its final moments, the atmosphere slowly became lighter. Kandis Starr said something that I feel is deeply important. Yes, there are a lot of questions that still need answers, but he's being questioned by people every single day. You know, he's allowed to have moments where he can smile. He deserves moments of happiness. He's been through so much trauma, abuse, and pain. He deserves to feel happy once in a while. That's what we're offering him here. This is a safe place for him. Her words made me think about a larger question. How should we treat those who have passed away? Different cultures offer very different answers. In Mexico, there is Día de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, usually celebrated around November 1st and 2nd. During those days, people paint their faces like skulls, wear vibrant clothing, and fill the streets with music and dancing. They believe that deceased loved ones return during this time to reunite with their families. So instead of mourning, they celebrate, using music, food, and marigold petals to create golden paths that guide souls home. The film Coco is centered around this tradition. If you've seen it, you'll remember its final message. True death is not the moment when the heart stops beating. It's the moment when the last person in the world forgets you. That's why they celebrate. That's why they remember. In New Orleans, there is a tradition known as a jazz funeral. A brass band leads the procession. On the way to the cemetery, the music is slow and mournful, heavy with grief. But on the return journey, the music suddenly turns joyful. People begin to dance. They celebrate. Why? Because they believe the soul has been released and has gone somewhere better. The return is not about mourning, it's about joy. There is an even more striking tradition in Madagascar called 𝗞𝗱𝗀𝗀, sometimes translated as the turning of the bones. Every 5 to 7 years, families bring their ancestors' remains out of the tombs, wrap them in new burial cloths, and, as shocking as it may sound, dance with them to music, circling the graves in celebration. To them, this isn't frightening. It's a joyful family reunion. The dead haven't disappeared. They've simply changed the way they exist. They are still part of the family. What Kandis said today echoes the spirit behind these traditions. He deserves moments of happiness. He's endured so much trauma, suffering, and pain. He deserves to be happy sometimes. Maybe the best way to remember someone isn't only through tears or relentless demands for answers. Maybe it also includes, with respect, allowing ourselves to smile, to joke, and to let them know that we're doing okay. Because if Coco is right, as long as someone remembers you, you never truly disappear. And everyone in this live stream today remembered Yu Menglong in their own way. Changing the teddy bear's clothes. After all the heavy questions, the atmosphere of the live stream slowly began to shift. Someone in the chat joked that the teddy bear needed new clothes. Kandis laughed. Yeah, this bear could use a new outfit. It's been wearing the same thing for 5, 6, maybe 7 years. That's actually a really cute idea. We should start dressing this bear up. You know, I think this small moment matters. After moving through so many heavy topics, the party, the body, the double, the idea of global danger, everyone instinctively chose something light, changing the teddy bear's clothes. This wasn't avoidance, it was balance. It's similar to a Japanese aesthetic concept called wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection and calm within sadness. Or like the old saying, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain. Even while searching for truth, moments like this are necessary. Moments where you laugh a little, crack a joke, debate what color outfit a teddy bear should wear. Because if you stay submerged in grief and anger for too long, it drains you completely. Kandis asked gently, He absolutely deserves a break. Do you want to rest for a bit? Just relax and talk? The teddy bear seemed to respond yes. Wow, just like that? Wow. You like just chatting and relaxing? Is that okay? Yes, that's okay. Sometimes what we need most isn't more questions or more answers. It's a moment to breathe. He knows fans are writing songs for him. One fan asked the final question of the night. Do you know that many singers and songwriters are writing songs for you? The teddy bear responded. Kandis said softly, Oh, he absolutely knows. That answer moved me deeply. After 𝗚𝗏 passed away, many musicians created songs for him. Some were professional artists, others were fans with no formal training. In different languages and styles, they turned their longing into music. And in this live stream, the teddy bear's response seemed to say, I hear you. All of the songs. He hears them all. Maybe that's the most magical thing about music. It doesn't need translation. It doesn't need explanation. It moves directly from one heart to another, even if that heart is no longer in this world. Chapter 8. Closing. The live stream came to an end. Kandis Starr looked completely exhausted. I feel extremely disoriented, she said. I feel like I've just been tossed into a dryer and spun around. Then she said one sentence that captured what made this live stream different from all the others. This was nothing like any of the previous sessions I've done with him. This one was full of joy, laughter, jokes, and music. And she was right. This live stream was not a heavy memorial. It was a reunion. For 1 hour, a medium, a teddy bear, and fans from around the world shared the same space with 𝗚𝗏. They asked questions, and they joked. They cried, and they laughed. They heard the teddy bear play music for the first time in 6 or 7 years. Was it coincidence? A paranormal event? A psychological effect? I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and I'm not a medium. I'm not qualified to give an answer. But I do know this. Inside that live stream, many people felt a connection to 𝗚𝗏, and a connection to one another. And that feeling of connection, no matter where it comes from, is real. One last thing. Let me end today's video with a short story. In Japan, there is a phone booth known as the Wind Phone. It sits on a small hill in Nabeta, Otsuchi Town, Iwate Prefecture. It was built in 2010 by a gardener named Itaru Sasaki for a loved one he had lost. The phone is not connected to any network. It doesn't call anywhere. After the 2011 Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami, Mr. Sasaki opened the phone booth to the public, allowing people to call the family members they lost in the disaster. Since then, thousands of people visit every year. They step inside, pick up the receiver, and speak into a silent line. Who are they talking to? Loved ones taken by the tsunami. No one answers. There is no response. And yet, people still speak. They still cry. Then they wipe their tears, walk back down the hill, and continue living. To me, tonight's live stream felt a lot like that phone booth. Were the teddy bear's lights and sounds truly responses from a soul? Or were they simply random fluctuations in an electromagnetic field? Maybe that question doesn't matter as much as we think. What matters is that there were people who needed an outlet, a place to say, I miss you, I love you, I'll keep fighting for you. And that night, the teddy bear gave them that space. It lit up, it made sound, it played music, for the first time in 6 or 7 years. Whether all of this was coincidence or miracle, I'll leave that answer to you. I'm just a recorder. I recorded what happened that night, and now, next episode preview. Before we wrap up, here's a preview of what's coming next. On January 9th, 2026, another psychic medium, British medium Ty Williams, also conducted a reading connected to the case of 𝗚𝗏. Ty Williams brought a very different message. He spoke about the idea of divine justice, suggested that long-hidden family secrets were about to be revealed, and warned that those who know the truth would begin to turn on one another. As he put it, he has a lot of information he wants to share with us. We'll explore all of that in the next episode. See you then! Closing remarks. Alright, that brings us to the end of the complete record of the Teddy Bear Psychic livestream from January 8th, 2026. I want to emphasize this once again. This video presents what occurred during a psychic session. It is not verified fact. We document and present this material so that those who care about this case have access to a complete and transparent record. Whether or not you believe in psychic phenomena, I think one thing is undeniable. Many people love 𝗀𝗡𝗏. That love crosses languages, it crosses borders, it crosses cultures, and perhaps it even crosses the boundary between life and death. Thank you for watching this video. I'm Angel. If this video stirred anything in you, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe you've dreamed of him too. Maybe you felt his presence in your own way. Your story deserves to be heard. I'll see you in the next video. May light be with you.
That night the lights went dim and no teddy bear sat quietly. 6 years and never played a melody like this before. Oh, she didn't know that you could sing, she didn't know music was your dream. But right then, the bear began to play a song that only you understand. Speak with music, answer with melody. Even though you're far, so far away, you're still creating, you're still singing. Somewhere else you're shining bright. Speak with music, let us hear you. All the words you never got to say. Teddy bear melody playing soft for us. You've always been here, always here, boy.
Teddy, teddy, you
are here. Melody's here, always dry. You and I here. You are here, always here.
Someone asked, is the music there? The lights blink like a nod. Someone said they miss you every day. You hold us with your song.
She said this time it feels different. Not pain, just happiness now. Are you smiling where you are? Can you hear us singing for you? Speak with music, answer with melody. Even though you're far, so far away, you're still creating, you're still singing. Somewhere else you're shining bright. Speak with music, let us hear you. All the words you never got to say. Teddy bear melody playing soft for us. You've always been here, always here, boy, yeah. They say you are a light shining into everyone's heart. The dream's not finished yet. We will remember your name forever.
Teddy bear, honey. Teddy bear, honey. Teddy bear, honey. Teddy bear, honey.
Here it comes. Speak with music, answer with melody. Through time, through space, to you. You're still creating,